couple of blocks, a straps, and blanket. So I invite you to start today in Virasana, hero's pose. And for most, that is more than 10 years of age, something is going to be comfortable to sit on. So for me, it is a block, and have the block wide under your tush as opposed to skinny. We want the sits bones to be well anchored. Also, you may like to just flip it up higher, and you can always stack 2 blocks. And Virasana is such a good pose for all things feet, ankles, and knees. But of course, it has to be comfortable to be of benefit. So tending first to the feet, 10 toenails, give them a little duk, 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 duk. Well grounded, and then take your thumbs and just iron out the bottom of your feet. So in the email I sent out yesterday, I included the little foot sequence. I do invite you to do that frequently, tending to your feet. Another thing I like to do here is just take my knuckles and kind of iron out the bottom of my feet. Now, if the ankles are uncomfortable here, it can either be add more height under your tush, or add height for your shins so your ankles are not forced into that full plantar extension, which is what we are in right now. The ankle flexibility, interestingly enough, that relates directly to the psoas. So a lot of what we do in yoga is about keeping the psoas happy for easy mobility. When we begin to lose ankle mobility, we begin to overwork the psoas, and therein some of the back pain may be buried. Then from the ankles, shins right on the mat. So notice if you're rolling the shins down, can you lift the inner knees so you come to be right up on your fibula. And so there's a little sense of, again, the inner knees are lifting up. And then we walk up to the sits bones. Do they feel even? With scoliosis, there may be a sense of one being floaty. So Elisa Miller says, slide that butt cheek out that may feel floaty and help that root down. And you can slide both cheeks out and just see how that translates. And then do a little jiggle jiggle from side to side. Rock the pelvis gently back and forth. And notice how that articulation translates up through the spine. So it's not a huge civet, but coming to sit where the pelvic bowl is neutral, neither tilting forward, too much back bend, or back where we have eliminated the lumbar curve. And from there, the spine rises up. Let's roll the shoulders up and down the back. And let the shoulder blades draw onto the back ribs, not in a harsh way, different from jamming everything back. I had a student come recently. She said, man, my back is hurting and I'm working so hard on my posture. I'm like, I think I know why you're sore. So relaxing the shoulders down, and then like a little Velcro, tag them onto your back ribs. And from here, the spine lengthens upward, both the sensation of the floating up the sternum. So that's another key of the posture, like there is a balloon floating the sternum up and inviting the head upward. Give yourself a little tapping on the top of the head. Or just awakening the crown chakra. But it also brings us awareness of the crown of the head. This is where the lift is. We'll take the hand down, but maintain that lifting upward of the crown of the head. letting your hands rest, whether palms down or palms up. It's whatever is comfortable. You may like to soften or close your eyes. And allow the stillness within to meet your yoga practice. Speed gets trapped in our bodies. Are we stressed because we are hurrying? Or do we hurry because we are stressed? Allow yourself to slow down. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is to connect to the breath. Let it deepen. And growing space. Expanding into stillness. Breathing in, let your awareness draw deep within. And breathing out, maintaining that inner awareness of stillness, ease. Simply following the in-breath and the out-breath. Creating an anchor. And from this stillness, we'll bring our palms together and we'll begin by chanting 3 ohms. Let's take a deep breath in. Bowing your head towards your heart. And release the hands down. We'll draw the gaze up again, open the eyes, and we'll just open and lengthen up. Interlace the fingers, stretching up. And let's side bend to the right. Keep your left sits bone anchored and up to center, to the left. And back to center. And we'll twist. Easy twisting back to center. And we'll go to the other side. So this is our checking in. And we'll come back to center and we'll take the legs out in front. Let's sit up on a blanket or a block for Dandasana and Baddha Konasana. So as I just elevate the seat a little bit, shake the legs out. And then use your hands to maintain an easy upright position. And then spread the toes, spreading the toes, and fist the toes. Do you say fist the toes? Or maybe that has a different word. Toe the toes, spread again. And squeeze the toes. Do that one more time. Spread, spread, spread. So we want to wake up our feet. And squeeze. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And we let that go. Shake that out. And we'll bring the soles of the feet together for Baddha Konasana. Allow the soles of the feet to really meet one another, pressing them in. And again, take the hands back. Take the hands back. Lifting up through the front spine. And then the knees and the hips is a really interesting relationship. Slowly take the knees up and let's let the feet come onto the floor or onto your mat. And then slowly let your knees pivot wide. Do the knees travel with the hips or do they continue? We'll just do that several times. Do the knees continue to travel after the hips have stopped moving? That can be a little bit of a conundrum to sort out. So I'm just taking my knees apart, bringing them back together. And just letting that relationship reveal itself. And when we do our standing poses, so there it is, coming attraction. If we take the knee into, if it travels further than our hip travels, then that will brew some trouble for the knee. Let's bring the soles of the feet together again. Press the feet in, but lengthen out through the knees. Now, as you lengthen out through the knees, maybe there's a little bit more hip rotation available, but that's a maybe. So the knees are not going down because I'm pressing them down, but because I am letting the hips draw down. Pressing the feet together. And we'll take the knees up. And we're going to travel into tabletop. Boom. Just like that. With the hands under the shoulders. Tuck the toes under. And then we'll start with a little bit of a shorter dog. So lifting up into dog. Hips high. On the in-breath, we'll take the knees back down. Look up. Lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Exhaling back into dog. We're just going to go back and forth a few times. I'm going to check this one out for size. And so next time you come up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog pose, we'll stay, keeping the hips high. Let's pedal the feet up slowly. One heel goes down, other one lift. And study, how does your knee traction, does it traction over the second toe? And what about your toe off? Do the toes bend evenly? Or some of them a little shabby. Now let's lift up high on the heels, high on the heels. And then draw the heels back. Draw the heels back. Let there be a sense of opening the back of the knees as if we had eyes back there. And we open them by lifting the sits bones and by lengthening the heels back. Lengthening the heels back. But keep, now this is a really interesting cue. Look at the front of your ankles. Are they all wrinkly? Now lift the heels until they are wrinkly-ish, less. And then take the heels back again. But keep the front of the legs lifted. Keep the front of the legs lifted as the heels draws back. One more breath. And inhale, let's look up. And we'll walk, step, travel up to the hands. And from here, inhale, looking up. Take the hands to the hips. Flat back, inhale all the way up. And here we are. Let's have our blocks at the top of the mat. We're gonna ponder both feet, but then sun salutations are coming. So blocks or even a chair may feel really nice for your body today. So there's always a way. But before we get to that, let's just ponder our feet a little bit more. So lifting your left heel up and just do some toe circling. I'm gonna get all the way into, so I'm just getting my toes, getting all wiggly about. And I'm gonna stick that one back. I'll place it back down to the other one. You may feel like you got some thingies in one foot or the other, so be kind. Be kind. That went well. I stand again, I'll turn sideways. Standing with the heels firm grounded. Lengthening up as we did when we sat. So a sense of the tailbone drawing down, but the sternum lengthening up, the crown of the head lengthening up. But the shoulders are hanging. So this is really where it's awesome to use a wall. You've got a wall handy, just walk right over to it. It's just like, oh, no wall. You can also do a door opening. We just want a relationship between our sacrum, between the shoulder blades or the shoulder blades, and then the back of the head. So the heels may be an inch or so out. The size of the tush will determine how far out the heels are gonna go. Bend the knees a little bit, and then draw the tailbone down. So drop, not under, so not tucking, but just letting those peacock feathers go down heavy, and keep them down as you straighten the knees. And then there's a sense of the pelvic, just so that the lower abdomen now got a little bit of tone. From here, lift the sternum up. And notice how that in turn draws the shoulder blades down the back. And we're going to do that little Velcro again. And then we evaluate, is the back of my head on the wall? If it isn't, generally it's more lift of the sternum. There's a slight tuck of the chin. So I know while this is neutral, it may not feel natural. So spending time standing, using your wall as your measuring can be helpful. So now map that and we'll come back onto our mat. So standing at the top of the mat, and again, as best as you can tell, with the wall behind you, with what you just invited in. Grounding the heels, lifting up through the sternum. Let the fingertips gently lengthen down towards the floor. And notice if that helps shoulders or it sort of pulls everything forward. Keep the sternum lifted high. Your inner light resides right behind the chest bone. Let's turn the palms out. And we'll draw the arms out and up. And down again. Let's do that up again. Inhaling up. Keep the legs firm and down. And we'll take them up one more time. And bend the knees. Bend the knees. Utkatasana. So we take the seat back. Abdomen draws in and up. Now the arms can come down lower. They can be parallel to the ground. It may feel better on the shoulders. It's a little less challenging. Check that the knees again are tracking over the second toe. Tracking over the second toe. And inhale, standing all the way up. And take the arms down. We're going to play a little bit more with ankle flexibility. So take one blanket. You're going to roll it up. And you're gonna place it. I'll place it over here. Let's see where you can see me best. And this is to explore the dorsal flexion. I'm gonna do one foot at a time, not both. So I'll take my left foot up. So the front of my foot is on the blanket. And you can go like I just said, whoa, that was kind of high. So higher is not better. You want to be able to keep the heel down, but have the bottom of the foot on the blanket roll and still be able to spread the toes. Other foot is going to be next to it. So you're still standing in mountain pose, but only have one foot up on the blanket. Now, could you do both? Maybe, but that would be a lot. Now, gently bend the knees a little bit, and it won't bend so much on the one that's already in flexion. So just do a little bit, straighten the legs, bend again, a little knee bend, and you feel we take that ankle flexion in even further. Bending. So we use this a lot in yoga. If we don't have it in the ankles, where do we borrow it from? One more time. And straighten the legs, and then stand down. Just stand down, stand off, and notice what changed in the side of the body where you did this. So I said it before, your ankle flexibility relates directly to your psoas. Is there a sense of something that changed in that side? I know that is for me. I hope that it was a positive experience, because I invite you to do the other side with me. So again, heel down, bottom of the foot is up. I stand my feet close together. So the higher the roll, the less you're going to be able to flex. Now lift and spread the toes, lift and spread the toes, and then bend the knee again. So my feet are side by side, not one in front of the other, side by side. And let the roll leg determine how much you bend the knee so the pelvis stays the same. Gently go back and forth. Not a big event. Keep the toes lifted and spread. Let's do it a couple more times. And then here too, we'll step off and stand and feel. And I think we're ready to play with our sun salutation. So we'll take this little roly-dood off. And blocks each side of the feet at the top of the mat. Mountain pose again, imaginary wall behind sacrum and the back of the head, those two body parts. Again, ideally travels side by side, not by pulling the head back, by lifting the sternum. Arms down. Let's inhale, draw the arms out and up again. And exhale, Utkatasana. Squeeze the muscles around the thigh. And exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, half forward fold, looking up, so flat back, and exhale. Let's take the right leg back and take the knee down. Inhale, lift the heart, and exhale, move the blocks out of the way. And we come back to downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank pose, which is our horizontal mountain pose. We'll take the knees down, but keep the toes tucked under first, and then do a little push-up. And then release the tops of the feet, let the hips come down as we lift the heart, draw the elbows, shoulder blades together, and lift the knees, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. Looking up on the in-breath, as you exhale, travel, step, right foot up, help it along. And take the left knee down. I'm going to use my blocks again. Lift the heart. And exhale. Little knee bump with the left will help us come forward. Keep the spine as long as you can. So belly towards thighs. And then inhale, bend the knees. Sweep the arms all the way up. And exhale. Hands, gaze to the heart. Let's lead with the left side. Inhale, take the arms up. And exhale, Utkatasana again, Utkatasana. Bend the knees. Take the arms where it feels comfortable. And sit as deep as you can. Sit as deep as you can. Somebody called this the public restroom pose. Pull the belly towards the spine. And exhale. Keep the length of the spine into forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. And exhale, left leg leads back. This time, let's keep the left knee up. So for the high lunge. So toes are tucked under. We're just playing with different things in the sun salutations. Hug the inner thighs together. Walk the hands up to the right knee. Or keep them down on the block so the legs are consolidated. They're working very hard right now. Take the arms back if that's comfortable. So this practice today, not a lot of arm stuff. Let the shoulder blades again click onto the back ribs. And we'll take the arms down, move the blocks out of the way. And we step back again. Downward facing dog. Inhaling forward to plank pose. Knees can be up, knees down. It is whatever feels good for you. Let's add a little push-up. And take the knees down. Release the tops of the feet. And lift the heart. And the knees again, upward facing dog. Powerful legs, powerful legs. And exhale. Downward facing dog. Looking up on the in-breath. And exhale. Take the left knee to the chest. Take the left knee and just hug it into the chest. And then keep it glued to the chest as far forward as you can. And then swing the foot forward. Duk, 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 help it in place. And then I'll solicit my blocks again. I'm gonna keep my spine long. Breathing. Kind of sort of plank pose again, but a little higher. So the back of the head, sacrum, and heel lining up. Hugging the thighs together. Walk the hands up to the thigh. Or keep the hands down. Keep the heart lifted. And maybe take the arms back, preparing to fly. Powerful back leg. Breathing. And we take the hands down. Step up to the front, back and forward fold. Lifting the sits bones. But keep the spine long. Inhale. Lengthen forward, bend the knees so we have power to push all the way up. And arms down. Mountain pose again. Pause. Well, that brought a little heat for me. Standing and notice what changed in the body. So if you're not sure what to do when you get on the mat, start with a sun salutation. It's always a good idea, I think. Now, let's stand in the middle of the mat, facing sideways. Whew, I'm getting hot. There. Mountain pose again. All our standing poses are born out of mountain pose. We'll take the hands to the hips. And we'll step the feet wide apart. Turn the right foot in 15 to 20 degrees and left leg out 90 degrees. So look down at the knee. Did it turn out all the way? Sometimes the knee is sort of looking more to the inside of the big toe. Can you dial the knee so it's looking over the second toe? It's okay to take the pelvis with you forward. And then exhale, bend the knee and straighten it. Back and forth. So now we're back where we were with the Baddha Konasana. And let's keep this one. And maybe lengthen the stance. Knee over ankle. That's a good place to be. Knee over ankle. Tailbone hangs down. Sternum lifts. Is there even pressure under both feet? Sometimes the tendency is to lean forward. So stay in the middle. Staying in the middle. Lift and spread the toes. And yeah, you can add the arms. I'm just keeping the arms down because I really want the focus to be on the legs today. Let there be a sense of hugging the thighs together here. Not overly, but a sense of facilitating the lift. With the hands right in the hip creases. So not in the waist, but in the hip creases. Straightening the leg. Now all that's going to move is the spine, this little teapot event. So dipping, spine down, keep your spine straight, and coming up again. And down. And up. And this one, keep up. So here, when we are trying to reach the block or the floor, it can sort of lead us astray a little bit. The triangle is the spine, the leg, and the arm. So let your arm come down wherever it lands. Keep lengthening at your left sits bone back. And there's a little lengthening of the inner groin. So the movements comes from the hips traveling opposite of the head. Breathing. Breathing. What does this pose feel like as we draw into stillness? Triangle is a yin pose. Letting the nose, sternum, and belly button hang out together. Or if it feels better, look down. But is the neck neutral? So warrior two, yang. Triangle, yin. Side angle. Bend the knee again. Take the forearm to the inner knee. Spine again, long and straight, long and straight. Take your top arm, we'll turn the palm back and we'll wrap it around. And breathe. So while this is a yang pose, can you find the stillness in the pose? Letting go of the restlessness that is our tendency. And then gently and quietly, on the in-breath, pushing up to center. Pausing. We'll take the hands to the hips and we'll turn the left foot in and the right leg out. We'll bend and straighten. And visually check that the knee travels straight out over. Again, sneaky. Knees are inherently sneaky. Not that they want to be, but they're sort of held captive between ankle and hip. So they just do the best they know how. Let's hold it right over the ankle. Pointing out over the second toe. And then we're going to ponder the relationship between the back hip as we ground the feet evenly. So lift and spread the toes, lift and spread the toes. Stretching the toes, we let them come down. Where's the work in the pose? Hips down, the legs are working. And the belly, yes, the belly is drawing up because we are letting the tailbone go down. So there is a little bit of tone. And then we'll straighten. Coming into our little teapot event. Let's bend it again, back and forth. And maybe here we want to hold it. Quads. Engage, pulling the kneecaps upward, pull the kneecaps upward. So a common whoops in this pose is hyperextension of the legs. Maintain it, zoom, zipping it up. And you maybe take the arm wherever it lands on the leg, wherever it lands. Breathing. Move the shoulder back, move the top shoulder back. But the rotation comes from the upper trunk. Stillness. Stillness in the breath, the calm center. And we can always connect to this calm center. Doesn't matter what twirls and swirls surround it. We anchor. We're home. And we'll bend the knee. We'll take the arm across. Press the forearm to the inner knee. Knee into the forearm. And again, take the arm behind. So in Ashtanga yoga, this is where they would often bind. Take the hands down underneath. I did that. Last time I did that was a decade ago when I just ripped my hip labrum to shreds. So I don't recommend doing that. That's why we do this modification. Hug the inner thighs together. Hugging the inner thighs together. And then release the back arm, and we're going to gently push all the way back up. Breathing. And then let's heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, back in. Tadasana, mountain pose. So that took care of the three musketeers. With the lunges, we did a little bit of the closed hip, but warrior one and extended side stretch or intense stretch to the east is really where we do the closed hips variation. So I say we just get on with it. Let's stand again at the top of the mat. Stand between your blocks, and I like my blocks. I'm tall. Taking the hands to the hips. And then let's step the right leg back. A mid-sized lunge and spin the heel down. Boom. That took me right into warrior one stance. Now you may say, you know what, I can make that a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. The key is you want to keep inviting your right hip forward. Right hip forward. So now here we're needing a little bit more of that dorsal flexion that we did with the roll to keep the back heel down. Keeping the back heel down. It's okay if it floats up a little bit. From here, let's take the arms forward. Strong grounding of the back heel. And then lift the arms up, take the ribs up with you, but keep your hips well grounded in the pose. Breathing, 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 breathing. Elongating. If it's available, let the chin lift up without collapsing the back of the neck. Breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. And inhale and straighten the legs. We'll take the arms down. Take the arms down. Take the hands to the front hip creases. Keep the spine long and then bow forward, long spine, right into the hip crease. Inhale up again. Notice how your right hip wants to slide back. You go, Keep your pinky fingers right in the hip creases. Keep your right hip moving forward towards the right pinky, and we'll take the hands to the blocks. Right under the shoulders. So right hip forward, left hip draws back. So the best as you can assess. They are even. The sits bones are on the same plane. Now let's lift the front of the left foot up. Lift the front of the left foot up. That gets the left hip back a little bit further. And we'll spread the toes and take the foot back down. Walk the hands forward. Take the blocks with you. Keeping the spine long. Breathe. And lengthen. And breathe. And lengthen. One more. And we'll walk. And take that back. Let your back heel come up as you bend the front. Bending the front knee. And we travel back to a modified warrior 3 stance. Lifting the leg, lift the leg. Breathing. Maybe take the left arm up. That's a big maybe. Breathe. And we'll take the arm down, foot down. Let's move the blocks back. We are in Uttanasana. And then inhale, looking up, and we'll just go right to it. Step the left leg back. Spin the heel down. Walk the hands up, duk, 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 and I'm back in a warrior 1 stance. And keep the arms down before starting. Because I want just to check in. Does it feel like I'm really jamming my sacrum? So this is, like I said, sometimes called the closed hip. So by moving the foot around, I can adjust how my hip feels. I might want to step my feet a little bit wider if I feel a little topsy-turvy in the pose. Let's just bend and straighten it a couple of times. It's like going to the shoe store and just checking out that you're in the right size. Maybe I need an 8.5 instead of an 8. And then we'll hold it, we'll keep it bent, and we'll take the arms up. Take the arms up. Breathe. So from the belly button, everything roots, grounds downward, hugs in. And then from the belly button up, we lift up. And maybe look up. Again, stillness. Breathing in, breathing out. Stillness and movement. There's still a lot going on in there, I know. We'll inhale, straighten the front leg. Take the arms down again. Take the pinkies into the hip creases. And then lengthen the spine forward. And notice how the left hip needs a little bit more encouragement to stay forward. It wants to travel back. Let's push up again. And we'll come forward. Keep the left hip moving forward, right back. And we'll take the hands again to the blocks. Right under the shoulder. Lifting the front of the right foot. Let's move my block out of the way. You can see what I'm doing. And I can steer my right hip back a little bit. And then I stretch the toes forward. So consolidating across the pelvis. Muscle wrapping about bone in the legs. And we move the blocks forward. So this helps us keep length on the spine. But very easy to collapse in this pose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I know, you can hear it, right? Warrior 3 is just gently calling us. So let's begin to travel forward. Hands under the shoulders, lifting the leg. Reaching back through the heel. So you're essentially still in the same pose that we would just did. And if the hamstrings were a little sticky, bend your right knee a little bit. That will allow you to lift the left a little higher. And then maybe take the right arm forward. Again, that's a big maybe. What does stillness feel like here? And we'll take the hand down, take the leg down. Standing tabletop, lengthen through the crown of the head. Lift the sits bones. And bend the elbows, inviting the lower abdomen towards the thighs. Lower abdomen towards the thighs. Keep the spine long. So in your mind's eye, are you rounding the upper back? Keep the upper back long. And from here, we'll travel back to our last dog. And take the knees down. Back to child's pose. Take the knees wide. Keep the seat on the heels as the forehead comes towards the floor. With your hands pressing into the mat and pressing away, you may be able to get a little bit more length in the lumbar spine. The gift, one of the big gifts this pose has to offer. Breathing in and out. One more breath. And take the hands under the shoulders and sit up. So now, I invite you to take your mat to a wall. I gave you no warning on that, I know. For Viparita Karni, but we're going to do it without back support. This will just be your mat and your wall. And then I invite you to take a strap for the legs. You may like a blanket. Will serve a couple of purposes. One, it can be under the head. If you have two blankets, that would be really good if you need one under the head. But as you come into the pose, I invite you to loop your thighs together. That takes the effort out. And then using a blanket across the lower abdomen to help ground the lower abdomen. And then once you set up, allow the body to become still. Allow the breath to become even, smooth. Let the mind rest into the gentle rhythm of the breath. Flowing in and out. Inviting stillness. Inviting ease. If you find that your feet are becoming tingly or numb, you'll remove the strap and let your legs slide down into Baddha Konasana. You can pause here and then return to straight legs up the wall. Letting the weight of the legs settle into your hip bone. Letting go of all effort of holding the legs up. This pose is profoundly healing. And you can stay here for long periods, as long as it's comfortable. It supports digestion. It supports anxiety, insomnia. It supports low back. And of course, any ailments of the legs. It's a very gentle inversion, especially when we remove the support under the low back. So hum, the mantra that means I am that. So hum. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Invitation to slowly and without hurry or force, removing the strap if you're wearing one without your legs, just by bending the knees down. And you can slide the strap off the legs. You might want to scoot out a little bit away from the wall. Let your knees relax in towards your chest. Hugging them in, maybe rocking from side to side. Eventually find your way over onto the right or left side. And pause here. And we'll use the arms and hands to press up into a comfortable seated posture. Bring the palms together. Anjali Mudra. Anjali Heart. And when we hold this gesture, we are sharing what's inside our heart. Expansiveness, compassion, kindness, joy. And ease. Let's close with Om Shanti, 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 Om. Taking a deep breath in. Om Shanti, 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 Om. Thank you. Namaste.